Oh my God, we got to get ready to go. Awkward. We're making everything awkward for you, Sonya. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
What am I doing, Smitty?
You're posting.
I'm not ready yet. Oh my God, I went live before I was ready. There we go. Now I know what I'm doing.
One, two, three, one.
Finally, seeping is the key word here. Smart enough to figure it out. I just ask questions and talk shit. I'm not the All I saw was a lake, mountains, and some trees. That's the running theme on this fucking podcast. Whoever deserves mocking, and that includes a host. Man, there is a record amount of meth in this place. Just sounds like stuttery Smitty.
Channel is 2022, y'all. Fuck milk crates, y'all.
So it's live, but it's the intro. I can hear it through for sure.
Get the fuck out of here. What the hell? Everything. Oh my God. Now we're live. Now we're ready to go. Along with the Weed Girl, Sonya Mahaney.
Hello.
How are you today?
I am great. How are you?
You didn't know it was going to be so awkward starting.
It's all right.
Do this real quick, and then we are going to be rocking. Oh my God, green screen sus. Let me put the other camera back down. There we go. Now I feel great about everything. Now I feel great about it. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
Good. I was psyched about this podcast. I was talking to friend Dave Runyon. I said, I'm really trying to get more pro cannabis people on. I'm really trying to get that word out because it's something we'll talk about it in depth during the podcast, but it's something that I am absolutely passionate about now in my life. Trying to get the pro cannabis word out there. And I'm like, I got the Weed Girl. I don't know who the fuck the Weed Girl is, but I got her on the podcast. And he goes, dude, that's fucking Sledder's sister. Really? I sure as shit. You had no idea. I had no idea.
No, I didn't know who you were.
Very, very happy.
But it doesn't shock me that you know who my brother is. That's been the theme of my life since I was a kid. Oh, you're Sled Dog's sister.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I have a name too.
That's so funny.
But Jason's great.
I feel like everybody knows Sledder.
Probably.
Everybody knows Sledder. Everybody.
He's a good human. He's the best human I know.
Did you always think that?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. I always did.
You never know, because I mean, I was a fuck. Is he older?
Yeah, 11 months older.
I was
And
an
then
asshole to my sister and brothers.
We had some pretty brutal nicknames at one point, but there's always been a real deep love. I think he called me, I called him Bubble Butt. He had a bubble butt. And so he called me Cemetery Breath. So my nickname was Cemetery Breath. But no, we've always gotten along. I mean, he was a year ahead of me in high school.
Sure.
We had a cousin who was a year behind us, which seemed like a brother as well. So we had a really, really good time. Our upbringing was pretty cool. Yeah.
Where'd you guys grow up?
Northern Michigan.
Where around here?
We had a family cottage on North Long Lake where we spent pretty much every day of our summer.
Yeah.
And then, we started in the hood in the central area, Central School on 8th Street, 9th Street, 10th Street. And then we ended up moving out to Long Lake. So right on the county line. So there's a lot of Leelanau County action and Long Lake.
You know, I don't understand how people born and bred here. I mean, Sledder gives me his reason why, but I still don't understand how the fuck you grew up Packer fans. You know what I mean?
Oh, go Pack, go.
That was the the best thing that
You're
ever
not
happened.
allowed. You are not allowed to be in my family unless you are a Packer fan. It's real.
I
It
know
is
it's
real.
I know. I think
We did Christmas this year, just the siblings and the cousins in Bel Air at one of my rental properties at the chalet. And it seemed like, well, my daughter said, why are all the gifts always Packer gifts? I had these custom Christmas tree ornaments made for everybody that had Packers on them. And yeah, it's real deal.
it's the worst. It's the worst. Just trying to have a fucking conversation when he talks about fucking Aaron Rodgers. Honestly, it was like, by the way, shout out to Fat Chicks Barbecue podcast sponsors, Fat Chicks Barbecue in the bustling metropolis of Atlanta, Michigan, Destination Barbecue. Check them out. Tim at Fat Chicks is a giant Packers fan. And I didn't know this, like, because I'm a diehard Lions fan. You know, I have 45 years, way more if you count before I was born, of misery. So that makes you jaded. Like, I'm very jaded when it comes to fucking Packers, you know. And I hated the very idea that, like, I endorsed this business. There's just fucking Packer paraphernalia everywhere, you know. There's always some little I don't know why I take it so seriously.
It's serious,
but you get it, right?
Yeah, I do.
We're gonna do, your brother and I think we're gonna do a Packers Lions watch party, the first one down here in the first game of the season.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's how.
Well, the Lions usually beat the Packers, so you're already ahead of the game.
Here's a good example of how
it's the only time they win.
Shit like that, you know, because you have a point, and that fucking pisses me off. But Packers fans do it all the time. You get fucking tired of it. Here's how much it's in my family to hate the Packers as much as it is in your family to love the Packers. And that's why I love Slutter too, is that I'm working on a new podcast logo. And essentially it's going to be the Smith family crest, which I don't think exists. But the colors on the crest, I want it to be green, gold, and red. And Levi goes, the green and gold part. It's like, Dad's gonna fucking kill you. I'm like, no, it's got the red in it too to make it not the fucking Packers. You know, green has to be this fucking podcast color. It's just the way it is. But that's how much we hate it. Right. Yeah,
that's good stuff. I enjoyed that you hate it. I do.
Yeah. It's usually the most fun, hurtful banter that I can possibly imagine. Is how much, because I mean, it gets into where I tell my friends I hate them, you know, when I don't really. But I think that sort of weird fandom gives you the right almost to be shitty to your friends if you know it's not, you don't really mean it. You know?
Yeah. I go back and forth with Norm. I was talking about Norm earlier. He's a Bears fan.
Your trainer.
Yeah, he's a Bears fan. So in our family, we've had a couple marry in. We've got a Lions fan in the family, married in. We have a Bears fan, cousin Stacy. Cousin Carson picked her up in Chicago, married in. It's brutal to be in a Packer family if you're the odd one out.
It's so common in Michigan. It's really disgusting.
This is what I think happened, and I could be wrong. My grandpa Ken Slatter would have to correct me, but what I was told was he was a retired state cop, so they would go from post to post. And when they were in the UP, he knew the Packers accountant and took my dad and my Uncle Jeff, my Aunt Kathy into the locker room. And that's where the love started. And then the next generation's born, and then the next generation's born. You know, our baby brother Ben and Noli, his wife, they have Brady's Bar. They have Ellis. Okay. Yeah, they have Ellis, and Ellis is he just turned 4, and you know, he's already go Pack go.
I don't know how I didn't know that. Like,
that's
Slater had to have told me that your family owns Brady's.
Well, they do. That's Baby Slater. That's
and there's
Sled Puppy
too.
There's Sled Puppy. Yeah. So yeah, Packers. I don't think we talk about the Packers, but I could talk about the Packers all day long. What I don't understand about the Lions, and I've been to their stadium, it's gorgeous. You know, I've been in a really nice box there. We go to a lot of Packer games, right? They get the number 1 pick every year.
No, they don't. It just seems like it.
And they still can't pull it out of their ass.
It is.
I
will tell you.
don't. I don't understand.
I will tell you that it's like this year I witnessed the birth of a championship football team. At the same time, I'm witnessing the Packers demise, like the start of the Packers demise. It's fucking awesome because I witnessed for the Lions a real, I feel like, a culture change in that team. Like they are gonna
Really
be
this year.
pretty good.
So I'll give you this, Smitty. If I'm a Michigander.
Sure.
So if the Lions, I will be there rooting on the Lions if they go.
See, and I appreciate that.
It's real.
There's
I
this
will.
sort of like there is a niceness to how you and your brother now are, because he's like, I just want the Lions to win. It's so fucking condescending sometimes, you know.
We
I'm
pity the Lions
Oh,
fans.
God,
we
no.
feel for them.
That's I don't.
There's
want
a lot
that.
of
We'll fucking
empathy.
do it ourselves. We'll fucking do it ourselves. That's how I feel about it. We don't need anybody's fucking help. We don't need you to be nice. But I feel like I really witnessed a birth, like a really
Oh,
good,
good.
solid football
we'll
team
see.
this year.
We'll see how that works out for you guys.
Shit like that. No, but it's okay.
Okay. All right.
I don't want to. This is not a combative podcast.
Oh,
This is
I'm
a-
not being combative.
but I am. But I watched them lose, and that was fun. I literally turned the TV on, got home from work, didn't really pay attention to the game at work because I'm bartending and I can't really watch it. Walked in the door, turned the TV on to see the football go through the uprights, and Aaron Rodgers' face looked awesome. Just like, oh no. Think he's gonna stay?
Yeah, I do.
You think so?
Yeah,
Makes sense.
I think you will.
You're a fucking god in that town. You know, I got
Have
a
you
buddy.
ever been?
I'm sorry.
Have you ever been to Green Bay?
I drove through Green Bay a couple years ago. My buddy works there. A really good friend of mine works there for radio.
So this is what freaks me are. This is even a little too far for me. My sister just went to a game. Jason, and my younger sister. She's about 5 years younger than me. And she gets back. This is about a month ago. She's like, Sonya. She's like, I got grass off the field. And I said, well, I don't think you're allowed to do that. Well, they were mowing the grass and I got Packer grass off the field. I was like, well, what are you going to do with that? And she got this huge clear Christmas tree ornament. She's going to put the Packer grass in there. She's going to write Packers with paint on the outside. She's going to hang it on the tree.
Amazing.
I'm like, it's a little too far for me. Okay, you've gone that's a little too far for me. But that's what freaks me out about the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you ever watched the movie Fever Pitch. You know,
No, I haven't seen it.
Fever Pitch is where Boston Red Sox fans, you know, they're nuts. And it's like, there's a scene where she's walking on the fucking field on bare feet. And he's like, what did it feel like? Was it spongy? That's how we want to know. Like, you want to know. Like being on the floor or being on like the field of, because I was on the field at Wrigley. I saw the Foo Fighters at Wrigley. And just being on the fucking field of like a legendary stadium, as much as I hate Green Bay, I'd fucking love to go. My buddy who works for radio in Green Bay, he works for the Packers mothership, and he got to do the stadium, the PA announcing, like as a fill-in one
Very
game. And he's like,
cool.
I'm like, that's the coolest gig in the world.
Yeah.
As much as I hate it, it's awesome.
Yeah,
You know,
Very
there's
cool.
so much history there.
very cool.
Except your team looks like baby poop.
We'll come back. Go Pack, go.
So talk about Sonya, Weed Girl.
Yeah. So you and I are cut from about the same, we're cut from the same cloth. We're about the same, we're the same age.
Pretty close, I think. I'm 46. You're 47.
Yeah, 47. I turned 47
39,
Saturday. 47
did?
Saturday. Yeah, it's a good
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Thank
Yeah.
you. 1/22/2022, and it was 22 degrees. I think 2022 is a good year. It's a building year for everyone.
Feels good so far.
Yeah.
Feels good so far. Honestly, 2020, I can't, 2020, 2021, and this year so far, for me personally,
Have been good.
been great. It's been the best years of my life.
Yeah. Wow.
Best years of
I
my
love
life.
to hear that.
It's great. I love it. I've
That's
like
great.
figured my shit out. I've like put my shit out there in ways that I never have before, you know, and like
Yeah.
it's working.
Yeah.
People are digging it. So it's fucking awesome.
Because you're being
I'm
authentic.
trying,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Weed Girl. So I was working for, I hadn't worked for a couple of years. I was stay-at-home mom. I was working for a competitive swimwear company at the time. I was their vice president, and my friend Kelly had started growing and selling CBD. She had studied it for a while.
I'm interrupting you and I apologize. You said you were a competitive swimmer?
No, I worked for a competitive swimwear company.
Okay.
Yeah, I ran a competitive swimwear company.
Misunderstood you. Okay.
No,
Yeah,
no,
sorry.
definitely not a competitive swimmer. I was a runner. Anyway, so she said, why don't you come work for me? And she had started this foundation called Free Relief. It was free cannabis for vets and cancer patients. And I said, well, I don't really know anything about weed. You know, we grew up in the generation where weed was bad, alcohol was good.
Yeah, that's where I was for a long time.
Yeah, weed's a drug,
Yeah.
alcohol's okay, which is crazy because I've been studying it now for 5 years. A lot of peer-reviewed studies, a lot of podcasts. I've been selling Weed Girl's been at all the farmers markets in northern Michigan. I think this was our 4th
Can you sell
summer.
fucking weed at a farmer's market?
Well, as long as it's under 0.03% THC level. So
you're working mainly with CBD. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Weed Girl now is the sister company Torch Cannabis Co., where you can get the real stuff, the
Mhm.
recreational. I'm not in that, but that is a business partner of mine with Wanderlust Abodes, and then my supplier for Weed Girl, and they've opened up the recreational side. So if you're going to buy anything like that, you would go see Kelly in Central Lake.
All right. So I have to get Kelly on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then so Weed Girl is distributing all over the country. And we started in farmers markets. So I learned a lot from just the people I was working with and how the cannabis was affecting them. And so Weed Girl's got our product line down to the lotions, the topical, the under the tongue drops,
Yeah.
and the pet products. But cannabis is such an amazing plant. It's so healing. And I've seen it do some really cool stuff for a lot of people that need it. So I am pro cannabis.
So, I mean, like, it's not, I don't think it's weird that the, Weed Girl doesn't smoke weed.
No,
you know what I mean?
I don't smoke
but it
weed.
doesn't, but you don't have to be pro cannabis.
No,
as long as
no.
you get it and you recognize kind of what it does
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah.
I can
And
only
you
say
don't have to get high and you don't have to smoke
Sure.
it to use it. So the problem with CBD, in my opinion, is that it's not, the regulations haven't formed yet. So for the average consumer to go buy, it's really complicated for them. But there's just a couple things you have to remember. You always want to make sure it's lab tested.
You're talking about CBD.
I'm talking about CBD.
Yeah.
Or even regular cannabis, just cannabis in general. CBD comes from hemp, right?
Yep.
Okay. So marijuana, so you have cannabinoids. There's marijuana, there's hemp.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to get the THC out of the hemp. That's where the CBD, when the Farm Bill was signed in 2018 and you saw the huge CBD craze, it was because federally you can have 0.03% THC in a product, and federally it's legal now. You can buy it. So you can get all those benefits without getting high. Now, if you want to get high, you can also get high and still get all the benefits. So you've got marijuana and then you've got hemp. CBD is coming from the hemp. It's good for sleep, depression, anxiety, inflammation, pain, arthritis. Now, our cancer patients or post-traumatic stress vets, they're smoking it because it's hitting the bloodstream immediately to kill the pain. You've got the topical that kicks in within about 10 minutes. And then you've got the under the tongue that gets into the bloodstream. You got to be consistent with that and regular with that. I forgot your original question, but just
You're on the wrong podcast for me to know that.
In general, cannabis is it's amazing. The things that I've seen it do. And no, I don't smoke. I'm completely sober. But I'm a huge advocate. And I think that, I mean, this will probably be pretty controversial, but I think we should decriminalize and legalize every drug out there.
I have not been able to wrap my head around that yet.
Well,
I stress yet.
Well, and so here's my question to you. Do you really want to pay? Do you want your taxes to go to some guy in jail who got busted for a dime bag?
No, I don't necessarily not want it decriminalized because I think fucking prison system is fucked and there's so many people in there for drug charges and just ruin their lives because they made a poor decision or got addicted or whatever the fuck. They need counseling more than they need prison.
Right.
So it's like I have a hard time saying that I want it to be illegal. I don't want people to go to jail for it. I think there has to be.
It's a plant. It's a
Oh
plant.
no, marijuana should be legal,
Yeah.
100%.
You're talking about the other.
I'm all right
other
with
drugs.
mushrooms. I'm all right with fucking acid.
What are you not okay with? Because we seem to be as a society okay with pills. I mean, let's take Coke and put it in a pill form and give it to a kid in 8th grade because that's okay. Make sure he sits in a seat.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's all. Let's make sure you're not growing poppies in your backyard. But if we can make money off it as a society in big corporate America, that's okay. I mean, we could talk about this for hours. It always goes back to the money. Who's making money on what?
So let's just say you legalize. So you're talking, you would prefer to have all drugs.
Everything legalized.
So yeah, I haven't got there yet. Because I hate the idea. I hate what it's fucking doing to us. You know what I mean? I hate like meth and heroin, the big ones. I don't even give a shit about cocaine, really.
Right.
But like meth, the big ones that are really fucking everything up that's so available.
But that all goes back. That doesn't go back to whether it's legal or not legal. That goes back to the trauma we've experienced in our lives.
Sure.
Not healing. Not having the education piece. And that's what people are turning to kill the pain. So it's a different argument. Like if you are on a different path, you're not going to pick up heroin. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's for the people that say that weed is a gateway drug. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
like,
no way.
What I would be curious.
You know what the gateway drug is the abuse. That's the gateway
abuse,
drug.
Yeah. I would. Yeah.
That's the trauma that we've experienced that we haven't been able to work through. That's the gateway drug.
I would be really interested to see like, addiction statistics in places with legal weed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's such an. I don't want to say it's an outlet. If you want to get fucking high, clearly you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I'm
saying. Okay. Well, let's just bring it back like full circle here. So cannabis, we don't, because it's been illegal for so long, we don't know all the benefits yet. We don't have the testing. It's changing. Everything I've studied is changing from day one when I started studying it 5 years ago. But the benefits that I've seen that people have had with it, not necessarily getting high, taking that component out of it. It's pretty cool plant.
It does a lot.
There's
a gentleman by the name of Les Older. I think he's got Parkinson's. But he goes around the state. He does like live music, plays guitar, a little one-man band show. He does all of his own backups, rhythms. Is really cool dude. But I got to get him on the podcast as well. But basically goes around spreading the word and delivering weed to people because it's helped him so much with Parkinson's. Like it has helped offset, if that's the right word, offset his symptoms so much we can just live normal life.
That's really cool. I'd love to talk to him. But
I've never taken the time to look at studies. I've newer taken the time other than just what people tell me, because my brain doesn't fucking compute any of that really. But God, it alleviates so many pain symptoms,
anxiety,
helps
depression,
me focus and get shit done. I credit that
sleep
for me to be able to do this fucking podcast.
Right. Sleep.
Yeah, sleep. Because I chronic insomnia, up until a couple years ago. Till mainly THC was in my system.
Who got you smoking, my brother?
One of. Yeah. One of.
Yeah.
But my buddy Brad, I kind of, when I hit 40, I was just like, I'm gonna give this a shot, because just mad anxiety all the time, constantly. I thought I was having a panic attack one day. Like I thought I was having a fucking heart attack. It was just a panic attack.
Yeah.
you know, and I'm like, I'm gonna give this fucking shit. I'm gonna give it a real shot.
Yeah.
And you know, because I typically would just get way too high, and I could have done the CBD, but that just really didn't register.
Well, I mean, some people have to have the THC, I think, to get through the blood-brain membrane. But
yeah,
well, going back to what I was originally saying, making sure it's lab tested, only buying full or broad spectrum. This is all my opinion. Isolate, I don't think works. It's all over the market. Full or broad. Full is the full plant with the THC levels in it, not necessarily psychoactive, but they're in there. Broad spectrum, if you're getting drug tested, you would do a broad spectrum because it has 0 THC, but still has all those great benefits. Less is more. Like in our products, we have 2 ingredients. We have the CBD, we have the cannabinoid profile, and then we have the coconut carrier oil, and that's it. So just when you're buying, making sure you have a product that's going to work, and then trying to match it up with what you have going on. So like you're talking about sleep or anxiety or pain, you know, there's topical, there's smoking it, there's ingesting it. They're all going to work differently with your body and playing with it. And I don't know if you've ever listened to any of Seth Rogen's stuff, but he talks
podcast, no.
He talks about, you know, it's not less is more, right? It's like being consistency is key. Less is more for anxiety, using it every day, no matter what, and then figuring out what works with your body. But yeah, cannabis is awesome. And I even say to, you know, our generation has such a war against drugs, reefer madness, like all of this crazy stuff where you see alcohol, what it does to our society and our families and how awful alcohol can be. Right. But that's okay. And weed's not okay. But this new generation, like they get it. I think there's a lot more cannabis users now than there is drinkers. Like you can see that changing, because where cannabis has all these healing components, so good for your body, alcohol is just wreaking havoc. Now, okay, so I talked to the scientist. I was at the farmer's market in Charlevoix, and the scientist came up to the booth that I could barely understand anything he was saying, but he had studied cannabis for 15 years. And he said to me in layman's terms, when alcohol goes into your body, it has no system. It just destroys everything. Cannabis goes into your body, it's like almost we have this highway and it just goes through your body and heals what needs to be healed. That's what he said to me. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. Right now we just need the science to back it up. They're a little farther behind.
Yeah. But yeah, it's you know, like you said, they haven't, I don't want to say not legitimate studies, because people have done legitimate studies.
They're more and more now.
Yeah.
Well, the pharmaceutical, but big pharma wants it. Right. So
they do.
There's a pharmacist up in the UP who came to my booth in Boyne City who buys all my stuff and takes it up there, the lotion. He's like, Sonya, your stuff works. And he said they have now, the pharmaceutical companies have a pill that costs $700 that doesn't even work like your lotion works. And they're just going to, and as our conversation's going, just ruin the market, you know? And so that's a little scary to me. I want to keep it as, if I had any control over it, which I don't, I want to keep it as grassroots as possible.
How long do you think that just goes?
It's already gone. It's already gone. They're going to figure out how to monetize it for sure. So yes,
nobody could just leave well enough alone.
No.
You know?
Well, it always goes back. Like it always goes back to following the money. I mean, if something doesn't seem right and you follow the money trail, then it's easier to like understand. But Weed Girl is really just spun off to be CBD under the federal legal limit. We've got it down to 6 products now that work. We have 3 lotions, a pet product, and then 2 tinctures. And then if you want the other stuff, you know, if you need something stronger, then I would send you to Torch Cannabis Company in Central Lake.
So is that a recreational store?
Is,
a
yes.
Physical store? I didn't know if it was a website or delivery
physical
service.
Store.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that Central Lake had legal weed. No, recreational.
Yeah. I watched
I watched Traverse City just fuck this whole thing up.
Yeah. No, Central Lake, the driving force was Kelly, and they made it happen. It was really cool to watch. So it's open. Stop in.
Yeah.
Tell them Sonya sent you.
You had said something earlier about,
or Weed Girl. Tell them Weed Girl sent you.
You had said something about just the consistency and, you know, a little bit every day until then. That was kind of the thing for me, finding what worked for me because I would just get too fucking high.
Right.
And I didn't like that. But finding a routine, I now know what people mean when they say, I don't feel normal unless I'm high. When people would say that to me before, because I never actively looked down on it. Like my dad's his nickname is Stoner, for Christ's sakes. I didn't look down on it necessarily actively, but it was always in there.
Right.
But I would just get way too high. But again, when people say they don't feel normal, I'm like, oh, I get it now, because if I went 5 days, probably a couple months ago without, it was the worst fucking 5 days, because I reverted back to all my old tendencies as far as like, bitchy behavior, fucking anxiety, freaking out over nothing. And honestly, I'm like, fuck this. I'm never, ever gonna go without again. Ever. Because I honestly, you take a hit and you're like, okay, that's better. I can do shit now.
Right.
Good
for sleep, depression, anxiety, inflammation, arthritis,
working out.
Yeah. And that's just because people that have used it have come back and told me how it's affected them.
I started the most ridiculous fucking podcast series ever called Weedness Day Workouts, where I get high as fuck. I smoke a bowl. And sometimes, a lot of times not, because my mom makes this sativa butter. She gives it to me. I put it in my coffee.
Are you sativa or indica guy?
Mostly sativa.
Okay.
Indica if I'm trying to go to sleep or something.
Okay.
But I get high as fuck and go on like elliptical runs, and I'm starting to get into running now. Just hour and a half fucking scorchers, as December likes to make fun of me for saying.
Shit, I've never been high and worked out.
I have the best workouts. Like today I did my fucking all-time best like run, just like an hour of fucking 15 miles an hour, just a fucking sprint the whole way through. But I honestly, if I don't get high, I bet I can do 30 minutes on a run before I'm like, God, I'm fucking over it. But I can just fucking go. It gets me in the zone. It expands my lungs. I have broken nose a couple times. So my fucking schnoz is all crooked. So I have to wear a breathe right strip so I can get good oxygen. But if there's just something about being high that I can just breathe better. Huh.
That's a new one for me, Smitty.
But honestly, I didn't make this shit up. I found this dude on Twitter who writes for, I want to say, Runner's World. He did weed running articles. He wrote a book about it. There's all these fucking people that this guy started running a marathons. He's like, I didn't do any of this shit before. I started getting high and running. Like, but the key is music. It's got to have a soundtrack, because it is the mix. From what I've read, it is, again, I don't do studies, but I did read this. It is the mix of. So
nothing we're talking about is scientific.
No,
this is not.
It's a mix of THC.
This has not been fact checked.
Whatever the
peer reviewed.
Whatever the nobody cares about that stuff anymore.
They should.
Music, endorphins, and there's those three things that are just kind of producing like
music opens up different parts of your brain. I'm sure weed opens up different parts of your brain. The running that opens up different parts, and then like that combination together might be magical.
It's pretty next level. I can't believe it sometimes. Yeah. So I never miss. Almost every day, because I quit smoking just over a year ago.
Cigarettes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. That's the thing. I had one of my old smoker friends who was like, when I was talking about smoking weed, she's like, well, why are you quitting smoking if you're just still going to smoke weed? You're still putting out, it's not even fucking close to the same things. I can breathe now.
So different. And I do want to say that I am super anti-vaping.
I was
super anti-vaping.
I don't like
Let me say it again. Do not vape. Do not vape.
Yeah, I don't like it.
What it does to your lungs, and talking to doctors, it's really scary. I mean, you smoke a bowl, hit a bong, roll a joint. Let's go back to old school.
Yeah.
Don't vape. It's no bueno.
I think my brother put it best. He's just like, what inherent good can come from you breathing in any sort of fucking fluid?
Right.
You know what I mean? Any sort of vapor is moisture, right?
Even if you're
sounds
like,
stupid.
even like that's bad, but like even smoking's bad too. I mean, there's different ways to do it now. You eat an edible, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to smoke. You don't even have to smoke a joint. I mean, a lot of people still love that whole ritual of it.
Yeah.
But if you're just doing it to get high or take the edge off, eat a brownie.
Those things are fucking, you gotta be really careful.
The way it
Man,
digests into
let me
your
tell you the
body.
story. I'll tell you the story. Your brother gave me what the fuck was it? Whatever.
Simpson oil.
No, it's this shit you put in a syringe. It's a resin.
Yeah, it's called Simpson oil.
Is it? Okay.
In that syringe is 3,000 mgs. So if you go to like a Loom and you buy an edible, that's 5 to 10 mgs, and that syringe is 3,000 mgs.
Honestly, you want to?
He needs to stop giving that shit to people, because I've had a couple of people tell me horror stories about that.
You know what happened is that I would put like a dot, just a little fucking tiny dot, like on a cookie or a cracker or some shit, and it was working just fine. But then I also had some weed butter that my buddy gave me, so I'm gonna make some fucking cookies. So my brother made them. He's like, all right, I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, oh, here, I had a little bit of that resin left, and I said, here, put fucking the rest of Sledder's resin in there, and it was towards the end of the mixing process, so it didn't get incorporated well enough evenly throughout the ingredients. So there was a couple cookies that were really strong, and there was a couple that were like, yeah. But the one,
It was like Russian roulette.
And my mom, first of all, my mom ate that shit, and she's like, those are the best fucking cookies of my life. Give me more of those. And I had a podcast with Josh Thomas on whatever, it was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We had this podcast scheduled, and I ate a cookie, the one probably that just had all of the shit in there, and I was fucked. I couldn't do a podcast. I'm like, I gotta go take a nap, because Josh came in and I was just fucking,
You were tripping,
dude. I can't do it. Can't do it. We almost went live just to see what would happen, but that's what I try to avoid.
Right.
Edibles
are, your body's digesting it, so it can really sneak up on you and be a completely different experience. It's harder to control.
If you get way too high on an edible, I mean, for me, it's you're in bed. If I get way too high, I'm just in bed. I got to take a nap. That first edible I had, my buddy Brad gave me a fucking brownie, and he said eat half, and I was dumb and ate the whole thing, and I was out for 15 hours.
Yeah,
incapacitated, laying on the floor. And
you're working with a pro with Slide Dog. Like, you can't, not anyone can just. Probably the last time I actually smoked was with my brother, and that was more than 4 years ago. And I mean, stuff goes sideways.
Does go sideways.
And he's such a walking I remember that day. He's such a walking contradiction. He like pulls up to my house. He pulls up to my house in his brand new Jag. He's got blue hair. He's got a I Love Trump t-shirt on. Yep. And he's rolling a joint. And he's like, you want to go to Oasis and have a drink? I'm like, you make no sense. Like at all. And I love you so much.
I know. That's honestly, he is my favorite stoner. He is probably my fucking favorite.
He's stoner, a pro
outside of my dad. Yeah, he really is. He's something else.
His wife's no lightweight either, man.
She's really funny.
She's great. Really I love her.
Yeah.
I love both my sister-in-laws. They're amazing.
I think getting you guys both in here would be fun.
Oh, you should get all four of us in a room together. All four of us.
You guys, you and your brother, and me and my brother during a Packers Lions game, and see how I can get the most hurtful.
I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah. So so you also have is it Wanderlust Abodes?
Yeah, so we have Wanderlust Abodes, which is unique vacation rentals and event space.
Okay.
So Airbnb stuff, short-term rentals. And my business partner is Tanya Savoda. She's in Washington, D.C. And we have a chalet in Bel Air that sleeps 22. We have a boutique hotel in Central Lake that's got 5 en-suites. Also have a flat in Central Lake. And then we have a cottage on Intermediate River, which is like a walk to shorts. And we're looking to buy some other properties in the area too.
So basically what you're saying is living in this beautiful region of northern Michigan is you have a license to print money. Honestly, you got to be really busy.
It's great. And we have an amazing staff, and we're still trying to figure out the formula, but it's pretty lucrative. Yeah. I mean, the chalet brings in like $1,500 a night in peak season. So, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. We had our first wedding last year. We're going to start doing weed events once in a while, private weed events. We have a private bar called the T. Willie Bar Room at the base of the hotel. And we're going to be bringing on like an RV that will sit across the property on the river that we're going to rent out. So between everything, we have about 11 different combinations of renting. So it's a lot of fun.
Is that considered, you said it, how do you classify it? It's not an Airbnb necessarily.
Well, it's unique. If you go to, so let me plug my website.
Sure.
Weed Girl LLC.com, Weed Girl LLC.com, Wanderlustabodes.com. And if you go there, you can see what we have to offer. But you can book through VRBO. You can book through Airbnb. There's different sites that you can book through. But what was your question exactly? It's short-term rental, unique rentals. Yeah. Everything's really unique, and event space. So in Central Lake, we have 4 lots. So we could do, we can do the big events. We can do the weddings. We can do all that fun stuff.
I didn't know. And I guess I asked the question because in like Traverse, they threw a fit about
short-term
the
rental
Airbnbs, and I didn't know how it was classified. If you were catching shit by like the townships.
Well, no, I mean, we're in Central Lake, right?
It's not known for its hotel, so it's like
right. We're in and it was a bed and breakfast for 40 years before we purchased it.
Okay.
So it's the house. If you're on 88, it's the house with the bridge that goes over the river, and Bel Air is popping, but the regulations aren't Traverse City regular. I mean, nobody really gets into your business. You bring business to town, and
that's nice.
You bring money to town. And
I do like Bel Air.
Yeah, Bel Air's great.
Yeah.
And then also what's new in my world is we just got approved by the feds for our 501(c), and our foundation is our nonprofit now. Nelson Mahaney Foundation.
Okay, who's that named after?
Well, my last name is Mahaney.
Yes.
And then Reed, our CEO, his last name is Nelson.
Okay.
So,
okay.
And we're going to do a big fundraiser in the spring, but we are, the main goal of the foundation is to bring money to the front lines. So a couple examples of that are the fires that just happened in Colorado, the tornadoes that just happened in Kentucky, the next hurricane that happens in the Caribbean area, or even the homeless guys on the street. Anything that these forgotten front lines where the funds can go directly to them. There's no barriers to communication. We can get the money to the people that need it. So I'm really excited about this.
So you just started that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It is very exciting.
What made you decide to do that? Because I mean, honestly, I meet people like you that I have my hands in a couple different things, but I don't think to the extent that you do. And a lot of other people I talk to, I'm like, I get so stressed out with having so much shit to do.
Well, it's
that I'm just like, I get overwhelmed sometimes. And it's like, I don't know how the fuck you do it.
Well, because I don't do it. Everyone,
you have help.
I have a huge team, right? I mean, I've got this amazing business partner in Wanderlust, and we've got great employees. And I just brought on Bobby for Weed Girl. He's going to be doing all the marketing, and we've got a meeting tomorrow to hire someone else. So, I've got a team, and then, I just have a lot of really strong people around me, and it's just like we were talking about before we went live, that it's really about the project, right? It's about the creation. It doesn't feel like work to me. And so it actually gives me energy instead of taking energy away.
I think when it's yours, that helps a lot.
Yeah.
When it's your baby.
To be able to create.
Yeah.
Yeah. and figure out what you're good at that feels fun, and then plugging yourself into that situation. So when I was a little kid, I went to flight school right out of high school. I knew I always wanted to fly airplanes. I remember saying to my grandma, and she reminded me before she died in August, she's like, what happened to the little girl that wanted to drop off food in the jungle to people that needed it? It was like this idea in my brain. And so Reed, he's I'm 47, Reed's a baby, but he seems like he's a lot older. He's 23. He graduated from undergrad, and his opportunities for work because of COVID brought him, they kind of stopped, and he had to come back to Traverse City. And so when he was here, he opened up a painting business. It was kind of just buying his time. I met him at my trainer's house. He was painting, and then he started painting my rental properties, and we would have coffee in the morning and talk when he was painting the chalet. It reminded me of me when I was his age, like really similar, personality. I've traveled all over the world. I've been to like 30 or 40 countries.
Ooh.
So America is it's amazing. And when you start to see the rest of the world, and not that there's when we still have a lot of problems here that we need to work on collectively, but just that experience and being on the front lines. Like the last time there was a hurricane in the Bahamas, I went under Humanities first, under the World Health Organization. I was right there when it was happening. I went into a clinic and just started scrubbing the walls. They brought in like 13 doctors from Chicago, and we just started working on those front lines. And you can see where the barriers of communication are. What do people really need on the ground? Like you go into these houses and they're like, we need diapers, we need insulin, we need rat traps, things that you don't think about. And then trying to get the money that's going through the government to the people can sometimes be hard. So I had a lot of those experiences. In Puerto Rico, I went in Puerto Rico. And also a lot of fundraising. I worked for Planned Parenthood back in the day. I did a lot of fundraisers when I was working for like GM right out of undergrad. So anyway, that I always wanted to start a foundation, and I didn't think I would do it till I was in my 60s. So one day Reed goes, "Hey, do you want to go do some volunteer work?" I said, "Yeah, let's plan it." So we went to Brady's. It was May. We started talking about it. And then he's like, you know what? He's like, why don't we just start a foundation and like just start doing this full time? Now, my youngest is graduating in 16 months. So that is like, gives me a lot of freedom to be able to like travel and do the work. Right. So that's kind of like how it was very organic.
Yeah.
It just kind of happened, really. So I'm excited. I want to be there doing whatever it takes, whether it's scrubbing those hospital walls or getting insulin to people or whatever it is, on the front lines, and being able to use our money back here, our friends, our family. They're like, hey, they know that $20 is going directly to somebody that just got affected by a fire in Colorado. Like, it's not going anywhere else. It's going right to those people, in the form of what they need. So
special kind of person that has that in them to want to do that regularly. For one, I'm not saying I don't like helping people. That's not what I'm saying. I do it if I have to. I do it if I have seen opportunity to do it that I'd like to. But that is just inherent more in some people, and it's fucking awesome. Like it's something different that you got to have, I think.
Yeah, I think I lost it for a lot of years, but I think, in my walk and sobriety, it's like, it's back. It's like, what are we really fucking here for? We're here to help each other, whether it's just having a conversation with someone or traveling somewhere to get them what they need. We're really, the only real thing that's happening here is these relationships with people. And I think the sooner we realize that, just the better off everyone's going to be. Everyone's struggling, right? Like, we're human.
Yeah.
It's a human condition and we need that. So I don't know. I appreciate that compliment, but I don't really know if it really takes somebody special. I just think it takes us all being real conscious about what you can do. And the only thing we can really do is help each other. Right.
Well, I think you had said it before. It's like, people want to be able to relate to something. You know what I mean? So it's like, when I say I don't want it, like, I prefer the talking route. You know what I mean?
Right.
Rather than actually going and helping. I want to talk about
But
helping.
you know what?
and
You
not
could be
actually
helping
help.
right now. You could be helping somebody sitting at home
Yeah, it's very possible.
listening.
Yeah, because
And just
honestly,
like
I
a
do,
little bit that you said puts them in a different, direction than they would have been going before they listened to the
I was
podcast.
talking to somebody about that yesterday, and they were talking about the podcast, and they said, "How's it going?" I'm like, "It's pretty good. I think it's going pretty good." I'm like, people just want somebody to relate to. They want to be like, "Oh, I feel that." I can connect with this person. That's all I want.
Yeah, I think that we are moving into a time where people want people to be real.
Yeah.
Right. And talk about real stuff.
Yeah.
We
talked about that, before we went live, and just, my beefs with like corporate radio, for lack of a better word. There's not a lot. You look at like fucking network TV shows, especially the reality shows, where everybody's putting on some fucking pose. Everybody's trying to be this character, and it's the worst fucking programming. It's the same with the radio, where you have to be a fucking character. You have to be all slick and shit.
Mhm.
It's the worst. And it seems like more and more people are looking for a way out of that.
Mhm.
And more people are looking for the alternative, or the opposite of that.
Yeah, I think the vulnerability, and I think that's why you love my brother so much. The realness of him. He's like the nicest person in the whole
nicest
world. How I would describe him is he is a real Christian. Like he is like what Jesus really stood for, right?
Mhm.
Which is hilarious, because you would never meet.
Well, I just think
he's kind,
the nicest guy.
Yeah, he's so but he's authentic.
Some people are just inherently good. I think they just have goodness in them. And there's people that have it in them, but they don't choose.
We all have it, but we all have the dark side too, right?
Sure. It's just, what side are you choosing to represent? Or
I like to choose both.
I'm
not afraid of the dark.
I go dark first, and then I have to talk myself out of that. And that's just, honestly, that's the way my brain's wired.
Yes.
My brain is wired for the worst fucking possible thing that I can say about somebody, or in any certain scenario. And I don't know why, because I immediately back off. Like, why would you fucking think that?
Well, I'm definitely an optimist, but I also, I want to blow up all the systems. I want to blow up the government. I want to blow up the medical system. I want to blow up the educational system. I want to blow up the corporation.
It was almost the tagline for this podcast was "blow up the idea."
Yeah,
I was talking about that. I was talking about that on the radio show once with my friend Tim, who was my co-host. I'm like, I love the idea of blowing up the idea.
Yeah,
where nobody knows what the fuck you're gonna do. That's the whole idea of this podcast. Is I could do whatever the fuck I want.
What the hell, everything.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. Sonya, it was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you for having me.
Is there anything else you want to get out?
Nice to meet you. No, I just happy 2022, everybody. I hope you crush your year.
I already am. We're on the way.
Yeah, no, it was super nice to meet you.
You too.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
I honestly, now that you said you had a bar, I'm like, I want to do a podcast from your fucking bar.
That would be great.
People that are probably renting your
we'll make sure they're not there.
Yeah, they might not like it.
Yeah, we'll make sure they're not there.
We'll talk about
we can do it from any of the properties. We should do it from Brady's.
Oh man, that's a fucking real possibility.
Yeah,
with
all four
I'm gonna
of
start
us.
taking my podcast on the road.
Yes,
more.
Yeah,
and doing some shit out and about soon. I have my 1 year anniversary-ish podcast that I'm going to do on 420 with Sledder's going to be a part of that. We're going to be at Right Brain.
Awesome.
I don't know the details 100% yet, but it's going to be a long podcast. It's going to be like an 8-hour podcast, hopefully. But I'm going to be doing way more of those this year. Way more of getting out and about.
All right. Let me know. Let me know when you want to cruise out to Central Lake.
Sounds good.
All right.
Sonya, thanks so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to get this closing thingamajig. I'm just going to kill this podcast. What am I talking about? I'm making this awkward.